All right, guys. So welcome to Elite Barber Parlor podcast, and we're going to be talking about some touchy subjects in the barber world. My name is Jay Cuts, and this is
Fresh Cut Manny.
and today we'll be talking about scheduling, the importance of working a schedule of not just in the shop but at home. And so, Manny, I'll let you take off. What are your thoughts on scheduling?
Yeah. So I feel like definitely every barber or every professional at least should have their own. No matter what the schedule is, right? It should always be very important to stick to it every time. No matter what you got going on. So you should know and that's the thing. You should already know your schedule outside of the barbershop, right? So as soon as you step in to this building, you should already know how long you're going to be working, right? Where every hour is going to go, or even if you don't have your whole day scheduled, at least you know, from 10 to 6 or from 10 to 5, I'm going to be there, right? Even if I have 2 hours open, 3 hours open, let me do something. Let me clean. Let me do this. Let me go do that. But let me definitely be here though.
Yeah, I think that's important. That's one thing that I always talk about, just being in the shop in general. Even when you're starting off as a barber, like you said, being 10 to 5. Sometimes on a Tuesday, Wednesday will be slow, and it's okay to leave at 5. It's okay to leave at 6. But at the same time, don't just sit around, do nothing. Try to be proactive during the day. Go pass out cards. And we're talking mostly about barbers that are on booth rent, most barbers that are independent. Now, if you're under commission and you're at a shop that's popping, then they're going to set your schedule for you. But we're trying to reach out to barbers who are most independent, who are on booth rent or have their own suite and want to build their own clientele. And so what schedule did you start when you first started cutting hair, Manny?
So I was 10 to 6. 10 to 6. But honestly, when I first started cutting, I was cutting for $15. But I was in there 7 days a week, Sunday to Sunday, all day, pretty much, right? And I remember at one point I even had the owner tell me I could come in later, right? Because mornings are slow and this and that. But obviously, I definitely didn't want to come in any later, right? I wanted to make as much as I could, so I would still be there. And if they had somebody walk in and they were backed up, then I would just end up taking care of them, And I was the only barber there, so I kind of took advantage of that and pretty much kept all those people, But definitely, it wouldn't have been there without the discipline of me showing up and being there every single day. Even on slow days, just sitting on my phone, but at least I'm there. At least I was available. I feel like nowadays, especially new barbers, right, they get into it thinking it's so easy. And, if it's a slow day, they'll leave. I'll make 400 on Friday. I'll make 500 on Saturday.
Yeah.
But
And that's the thing, you're going to get stuck there. You're going to not be busy on Tuesday, Wednesday, be somewhat busy Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I got stuck there for many years. I was very talented coming up in the barber world, and I was really busy right away. So I was also, a lot of, in the barber world, there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of smoking, there's a lot of bad influences around you. And sadly, I was influenced by all that. So quickly, on weekends, I was going out drinking with my buddies, especially from the barber shop or just anybody. So my discipline was not there. I was very undisciplined for at least the first 6-7 years of my barber walk. But I was very talented, and I kind of depended on that because sometimes I would show up till 11 or 12, but I would work till 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock. I was not consistent with my schedule, but I would still get it in because I was there in those late hours, 7, 8 o'clock, when people are getting off work. So I would definitely take advantage of that.
yeah. Do you feel like now that you're on a schedule, or that you at least try to set a schedule, it's easier to stay away from temptations like that, or drinking, or killing your time off like that?
Well, yes and no. Because let's say you get off at 7, you have more time now on your hands.
Right.
I get off at 6, I have more time in my hands. But I think it just became part of growing up and maturing. I got married at a young age. I had a baby at a young age. And I got a lot of responsibilities. I was paying for my own apartment at 22, and a lot of these barbers are not paying. They're mostly living at home, or they're not depending on themselves. I already started depending on myself at 22. So when that was really started disciplining me and taking more responsibility. I believe that if I didn't have my wife and my kids, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now, just because that brought responsibility to me. And I'm thankful for it. And now I still worked till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and still there was times where I was undisciplined. But now that I've really, really started being more disciplined, being able to get off at 6 or 7 o'clock and being able to spend some time at home, I really enjoy it. You know, I wish I would have known this when I was younger.
Yeah, yeah. So you could already start like setting up your schedules like that, right? Setting up your clients like that too, to know if I'm gonna try to pull up on Jimmy at 8 or 9, he ain't gonna take care of me. You know what I mean? Because he has his own life, his own thing going on.
And they used to be able to call me. You know, I was at the shop Friday nights till 11 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 a.m., you know, drinking at the shop. I was taking care of clients. I was doing probably 16, 20 cuts a day on a Friday because I was starting from 9, 10 a.m. I would cut till 11 o'clock at night, but I'm there drinking. So I was very inconsistent. So clients would hit me up. Now they know, hey, 7 p.m., Jimmy's probably at home now. It's rare when they do. And when they do, they're like, hey, dude, I'll give you $100 for a haircut if you cut me after 7. Now we're talking different.
Now it's worth it, right? Yeah. Now it's different. But I feel like it's so important to create that foundation first, right? To create that schedule, because it could be fun now, like to kind of mess around on your schedule, stay late this day, but leave early this day, do whatever. But when you go down life and you do have a family and you do get married and things like that, then obviously you're going to want time for those things, right? There's going to be other things more important than just making cash, fast cash, same day. There's things way more important than that.
And I really respect you, man. I've been working with you for a few months, and you're what, 24, 25? So it's like you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the curve. When I was coming up, in Houston, we had Kings of the Clippers and these famous barbers, Hugo. Instagram wasn't around. Facebook wasn't big. And you just knew people by name, but the barber industry was known for it. The coldest barber was always the one that was partying the most, and that was the tone back when I was coming up, And now people with social media like Marv and these other barbers that are telling you, hey, stick to a schedule, be disciplined. I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have a mentor growing up, and that's why the way sometimes I try to run the shop is to mentor people, to tell them, hey, come in early, 9, 10, and stay here till 6, 7 p.m. because you might catch a walk-in and you're going to grow your clientele. And I try to mentor people. Don't do anything stupid. Go to sleep early, work out, like for your schedule, And you're way ahead of the curve, man, and I'm really happy for that. And I think some of the guys here at the shop are also ahead of the curve, like Byron. He comes in. I've seen him come into the shop at 8 a.m. and that's really great. He's young, and when I was coming up, there was no barbers were coming in at 8 a.m. Yeah. Not where I was.
And the crazy thing is, I feel like we can get away with it, right? We can, because we're good, we're consistent. Like, we can get away with it, but like, as people, we should hold ourselves up to a certain standard to show up on time, right? To show up early and to be on time everywhere you're at. Because I feel like how you carry yourself is the type of clientele that you're going to have, right? You show up late, you're inconsistent, your clients are going to be the same way with you, because that's how you are with them. You're training them at the end of the day.
And it's true, because you said you attract. What you do attracts. The way I was, who I was, my personality, my traits, I used to drink a lot, I used to party a lot. So people that sit in my chair, they were waking up late too. So they were coming to get a haircut late at night. When I started, I guess this is where we'll probably touch another subject, is working on myself, creating a different me, and my whole schedule changed, just working on myself. And now I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I'm really trying to wake up at 6 a.m. It's really hard. I've never been a morning person. I used to wake up at 9, 10 a.m., and get to work till 11. So now me waking up at 6:30, it's really rough, but man, I really see the change. I really see the growth. I really see how the business has grown. Like my type of clients have changed. Yeah. That changes. Working on
it's crazy how that works, because I feel like I have some good days like that, like where I'm up, I'm ready to get it, maybe twice a week, right? Maybe 3 times a week. And those be the best days at the shop, right? Like you're ready to go, all your clippers are ready, they're set, you know what your schedule looks like. And even if your schedule don't look as busy as as it's supposed to, you're still happy to be there, right? You're still confident, you're posting now. Now you're like, I got this opening. Now you're more in there, you're more awake now. As opposed to like, 'cause I ain't gonna lie, I have some days during the week, I get up at like, my first appointment's at 10, and I'm up at 9. And I'm like, man, let me go. I gotta go. You know,
I
gotta
can't.
feed my cat. And I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I used
But
to be
it
able
used to
to
be
do
every
that.
day like that. You know, it used to be every day like that. So I'm glad that I'm trying, definitely trying to create that schedule out of here. You know, I feel like I got it down at the shop, and now applying it to the whole life too is very important.
So I wake up at 6:30. I have a 3-year-old. I have a 8-year-old. So I get them ready. I take one to school. I take one to the babysitter. Then I come to the shop and I try to be here before 9. You know, sometimes it doesn't happen. I do wake up late. I still struggle with waking up early. But that's definitely one thing I used to be able to do. Let's say I had an appointment at 9. I wake up at 8 or 8:30 and just run to the shop and just get going. Now, honestly, it takes me time to just get going. It takes me time to get my body going. I'm 33. You know, I kind of messed up. You know, but,
I feel like too, bro. Like we take this shit for granted a lot. You know, like think about that. You show up 15 minutes before your appointment just because you know how to do this. You know, like you're not respecting the culture. You're not respecting what's giving you a living at all, right? You're giving it 8 hours of your time, but you're not really there. It's kind of like brushing your teeth, right? At some point, you're just kind of doing it, but you're not really there. You're not taking care of your job, right? You're just showing up because you know you can get away with it, or you know you can text your client, "Hey, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late," right? Which I mean, I feel, at one point you can get to that point, but definitely starting off as like a barber, you don't want to create that bad habit. You don't want to create that.
you don't. I had that habit for years. You know, and who I am now as a barber is nowhere near who I was 10 years ago, 6 years ago as a barber. You know, I don't know what changed or something just boop. And that's why also we're doing this podcast and, you know, we're kind of working on this to teach other barbers, you know, all the mistakes that I made and seeing Byron, young barbers just advancing in the game so fast and greatly, it makes me really happy. But yeah, just showing up late to your clients, man,
It's not a good look, bro.
it's not, especially if you want to make a living. Like you said, we take this for granted. I mean, let's say we make $40, $50, $60 an hour. Who gets to do that?
Exactly.
And we get to show up. And I think that's the thing, like people look at it when, you know, we're talking about scheduling. People look at it as like, dang, man, I gotta go to work. It's gonna be slow, man. I don't even want to go in, or they just start negatively thinking in the morning. And man, you get to come do something amazing. You get to come do art. You get to come cut somebody's hair. And the experience of it is so beautiful sometimes when the client is happy, interacting with the customer, and you're here dragging at 8, 9 a.m. And I'm like, man, you can be a 6-figure barber. You can make a living. You can buy a home. You can build a family with this craft, and you're just taking it for granted.
Pretty much living for the weekend, right? I feel like a lot of young barbers get into it for that, right? At least I remember when I was in barber college, man, there was a lot of kids that like they were selling bud too, right? So they would be selling. So I already knew their mindset was fast money, right? That's the whole reason they got into the barber game, just because it was easy. They were told it was easy and it was fast money, right? It was simple. And that's cool, like that's understandable. It can be simple, but at the same time, if you one day you want to grow and one day you want to charge 70, you want to charge 80, like that person's not going to pay you 80 if you're showing up 10, 15 minutes late, you know? They're just not going to. They value their time more than the blurriest haircut you could give them, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of these young barbers take for granted. They think, hey, I'm going to come into a shop, I got my barber license, I know how to cut, I'm going to make tons of money walking in. And that's what we were talking about scheduling right off the bat, because scheduling is important. You know, at least what really exploded me, like I've been busy since I took off. Like have never had a slow week. I took off in my mom's garage, then I went to first barbershops. I just blew up. And I remember there was this Dominican guy I used to work, and it was booth rent, but he was like, you better be here at 9. These doors open at 9. And I was like, okay, I'll be here at 9. It closes at 8. You better be here till 8. I'm like, yo, this is booth rent. But at that shop, I learned that I could be there Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And even if I did one walk-in or I did one client, it really built that being at the shop every day. And of course, I still worked on my scheduling, showing up a little late. But that guy really pushed me, and I realized that's where I grew because I was there every day, and people knew I'm at the shop Tuesday, I'm at the shop Wednesday, I'm at the shop Thursday, I'm at the shop Friday and Saturday. You don't got to ask me where I'm at. I'm at the shop. I'm at the shop at least from 10, 11 a.m. to 8 o'clock, sometimes 9 o'clock at night. I'm at the shop. And I think, what a lot of these barbers make a mistake is the clients will call them on Tuesday at 3. Hey, man, where you at? Man, I'm at home. Man, I need to cut. Man, just come tomorrow. And they sit back down. They don't want to come into the shop because not to do one client. But then that client is not going to call you on Tuesday again. And that client is not going to call you on Wednesday again. That client, you're only going to be busy Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So you're already setting yourself short for 3 days. Yeah. So the fact that you're being here Tuesday, Wednesday, even if you do 2 clients, the clients are going to know Jimmy is at the shop on Tuesdays. Jimmy is at the shop on Wednesdays from this time to this time. And if sometimes I am running an errand, I'm 30 minutes, 30 minutes away, 20 minutes away, I can get here. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Did you struggle with, you didn't struggle with being at the shop?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I didn't. I feel like my thing was, though, like, especially on a busy day or a busy morning, I love it because I feel like I get kind of lost in it, right? So, like, if I come in and I only see I got one person, usually what I would try to do at the time was I would text people. I'd be like, hey, bro, I got openings today, or put something on Instagram or put something on Facebook or whatever and put that I got openings today just to try to get at least one more after that one. Because it was kind of weird, man. As soon as I kind of get in this groove and just kind of just start working, then things just kind of start falling into place, right? Because now my mind is in the right place, as opposed to kind of like dragging, because I only got one person on my schedule.
And I think that's definitely, talking about scheduling, it's your mentality. You gotta come in, and even if you got one person, you just gotta know, like, hey, I'm just gonna go in, but I want this to be a good day. And I think being positive about the day, it's gonna change your whole day. Because if you come in thinking like, man, I only got one on a Tuesday, man, it's gonna be slow, I'm gonna be sitting around, I might as well not even go in. And when you, right there, you already messed up.
Yeah.
You already messed up.
I feel like we had to see it like that, right? Because people can't get a haircut every day, right? It's going to be maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every week, maybe every 3 weeks, but not every day. So, like, that one day that you left early and you missed on that one client, you could have been a client for the rest of your life, It could have been every 3 Tuesdays, but at least now you got somebody on Tuesday, right? And then next month, maybe you might get another one. Now you got 2 people every 3 weeks on Tuesday, right? But you do that for a span of 2-3 years, you're going to be straight no matter where you go.
Yeah. There's, right now, I'm going through a little transition. I'm trying to be more of a family man. My 8-year-old grew up really fast, and I want to be more at home. But I remember maybe the past 2-3 years recently, because of the consistency that I started taking 5-6 years ago. Man, on Tuesday I was doing 8 cuts, 9 cuts. I've done 10, 11 haircuts on a Wednesday, charging $35 a haircut, 35. Do the math. I actually don't know the math. So what is, let me do the math. 35 times 11, we're talking about almost $400. Of course, that's without tip. I'm talking about maybe $450 on a Wednesday, because of consistency. And people want to make $400 or $500 on a Wednesday, but they don't want consistency.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking scheduling. Scheduling is consistent.
Because when you schedule long enough, that's what's going to build that Wednesday for you, right? And now you can work on a Tuesday. So let me schedule long enough to work on that Tuesday now. You know what I mean? Before you know it, you got all 5 days or 6 days. I worked with barbers that never stop moving. For the whole time I've worked with them, like, they come in and they got somebody every single hour of every single time I've ever seen them. On a Tuesday? On a Tuesday, Wednesday, every single day that I've seen them at the shop, yeah. But I know that it took them time scheduling, right? And they're consistent with their schedule, and they're going to leave every day at the same time. So it definitely is very important in this game, especially if you're barely getting into it.
I think, don't feel bad about it too if you got to leave at 5 sometimes. If you got to leave at 4. If you got to take a Tuesday off, you're just not feeling it. I would rather take a Tuesday off or a Wednesday off and say, hey, man, I'm not feeling it. It's 2 p.m., 3 p.m. It's kind of slow. I'm just not feeling it. Just go home. I told some of my barbers, go home, take a nap, rest. But tomorrow you need to come with a different energy. So it's okay to take a day off.
Yeah, we have our days, right?
Yeah.
We all have our days, for sure.
but don't make it a habit. And I think the problem is people make it a habit. Oh man, it's slow. I'm leaving at 3. Oh man, I'm leaving at 3, or I'm coming in late. And that's definitely gonna stunt your growth as a barber. And that is one thing that, of course, you being here, I preach. Be here early, leave as late as you can, because you're gonna build clientele. And you know, people, I feel like a lot of young barbers, they kind of look at you kind of like, man, well, it's slow. Well, why should I stay?
And a lot of people come into it to be their own boss. So like the last thing they want to do is listen to us tell them something. You know what I mean? But I mean, we're telling them for our own, because we've been there, right? Because we've been there and we've established ourselves, and we know it took time to get there and consistency to get there.
Man, anything else we should talk about? Scheduling, man. Oh well, if you're a new barber, I would really, really, really suggest you working, and I know this is gonna be tough, and I know it's gonna sound tough, but I would really suggest you working like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. to like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. if you can. Try to be at the shop 11, 12 hours. I know it's tough, but you're gonna get the morning rush, the midday rush, and the night rush. Most people, they want to come in early, or they want to come in after 3, 4, 5. So that 6, 7, 8, or 9 p.m. o'clock appointments, you know, you're gonna really be able to build them out. You know, if you're slow all day, I used to take naps. I remember, you know, when I used to do 12-hour days, 13-hour days, I used to take naps. If I had a 2-hour break, I go into my car, I take a nap, but I'm there all day. So having those late appointments would always help me. That's what helped me grow my clientele as well. But now, later down the road, you're like, okay, now I'm established.
Yeah. Now let me manage my time how I want to, right?
Now I got my clients. Now they you know, I can start cutting 8, 7 p.m. You know, and start working a schedule. But I would really, if you're a new barber, I would just really suggest 12 hours, 13. I mean, I'm 33, you know, and you know, the guys here at the shop, they're younger, 23, 25, and sometimes, you know, I look at them and I'm like, man, when I was your age, man, I was coming in at 9, 10 a.m., working till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Come on, man, you got no kids, you don't got a wife. I got a wife, I got to be a dad, I got to be a husband, I got to be a business owner, and I'm still here before you? Nah.
No excuse, bro.
I still go to the gym, too.
No excuse. Let them hear it.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, I go to the gym, and then like I do these shirts for the guys. Like I'm grinding all day. There is no reason that you're 22, 23, 24, and you're a barber. You got none of these responsibilities. There is no reason why you're not at the shop early, and why you're not at the shop late, and why you're not promoting and passing out cards. Exactly. You know, but for me, when there's a slow day, I'm like, oh man, I get to chill. You know, because I don't get to chill at all. And I'm texting clients, and even though I have an online booking system, clients are still going to text me because they want that. So my wife definitely gets mad at me when I'm working all the time. Mm-hmm. It's 10 o'clock at night. 10 o'clock at night, I'm having pancakes with my wife. Yeah, I like pancakes late at night. And I'm texting the clients, hey man, I know you booked tomorrow, but can you fit me in? And I think even if you hit a level of consistency, you hit a level of like, man, I made it, I think you still need to be humble, and I think you still need to be like, still take some time out of your day and be able to interact with your clients. Hey man, I can sneak you in tomorrow at 8:45 in the morning. I had you up or something, you know?
At the end of the day, they built you, right? And some came, some stayed, some left. Some you won't see for a few years and they come back, but at the end of the day, they built us.
And honestly, you know, talking about scheduling, I think the evening hours, like after 6, 7, during the week, when I would stay cutting with the homies, I think those were the best times. I think those were the funnest times, like 7, 8 o'clock at night. We stay on a Tuesday, Wednesday, just cutting each other or practicing or doing designs. And I don't see that anymore in the industry. You know, I don't see that camaraderie that I used to see growing up in the barbershops. I feel like everybody's so independent now. So use that time wisely during the slow days to be with your barbers, learn from them, and you know, on the slow days, go pass out business cards. Don't just slouch on your chair and be like, oh man.
That's another important point, right? It's like having that camaraderie with whatever shop you decide to work at, right? Because you might work at a shop and it might not be for you. And you might, you know, you might be surrounded by barbers that show up late and that leave early, you know. But finding the right one, definitely, and having that camaraderie to make it easier too, to stick to your schedule, because it gets hard, right? Especially when you're slow, it gets very hard, and you want to leave. and we lied to ourselves that we need to do this, or we made enough money this week so we could do that. But the reality of it is not.
And you know what's gonna set you apart is being, if you're at a barbershop that these guys are showing up at 11, these guys are showing up at 12, 1. I worked at shops where people were showing up at 2 p.m. man, like this.
Afternoon shifts.
And of course they're leaving at 10 o'clock because the hood shop, they stay up late, and you got to be that change. Be that change. If you really want to make it in life and you want to be successful, and I think this is one thing that I preach: success, coming from the bottom, is you got to change your atmosphere. Like, even if you're in a shop like that, you show up at 9 a.m. I used to work at barbershops where even the owner used to show up, dude, to like 12. The shop owner was cutting hair, and he would show up at 12. And I was sometimes there at 9 a.m., and I'm sweeping, I'm mopping, I'm taking out trash. And you got to set the standards for yourself, and
so not everybody's going to lead by example,
You change that atmosphere. You show up early. You change your schedule, and then people are going to be like, man, this dude's showing up early. Now he's more booked up than I am. Why is he more booked up than I am? Because he's showing up early. He's showing up ready to work early in the morning and with an attitude, like a good attitude, and I think scheduling, being there, and then eventually, you can take. I know now some barbers that are so established that they're 9 to 5, 9 to 4.
It's like an office job now, right?
Yeah. And I think that's where we all want to get, but just because you have a barber license doesn't mean you're gonna make money right off the bat. Just like in any company, you gotta grow.
You gotta have that hustle.
And you gotta have that hustle.
Bro.
Yeah, man.
Shit. I think that's about everything we covered, at least that I know of, right? Gems I could give. You? Anything else?
Well, working out in the morning. I mean, I sometimes do it. I don't do it all the time, but when I work out in the morning, I come in with a better attitude. Mm-hmm. So if you're not a morning person, man, it takes you, go on YouTube. It's a hit workout, high intensity intervals. Start working out, start, sweating, hop in the shower and get to work at 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m. And you're like, dude, your day starts whole different. Like, my whole day changes if I work out in the morning. Even if you work out at night, maybe you get better sleep. But scheduling and like you said, do you have a schedule where this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Like, I get off at 7, I'm going to have dinner, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Do you have a schedule like that or no?
Just to the gym, bro. It goes from from work, from 6 to 7. That's when I could get home, do a few things I need to do at home. Then from 7 to 8, I'll probably end up going. That's when I'll start lifting at the gym. But then that's it. From like 8 to 11, I spend like all my time at the gym just playing ball. So it's not even scheduled, but that's 3 hours that I'm not giving to my business, right? And I feel like at the same time I've worked to get there, but at the same time I'm still getting away from the point, right? Which is being humble and building this business.
Yeah, and working on yourself is way better than just being out in the streets doing hood rat stuff with your friends, At least if I get off, like, I'm having dinner with my wife. I'm watching TV with my kids. Then I'm reading books. Then I'm, praying. Then it's like 11, and I'm like, man, I got off at 7. I don't have time. So scheduling and focusing on what you do after work is very important because you don't want to waste time.
Yeah.
So don't waste time. That's definitely one thing. Don't waste time in the shop. Don't waste time after, and don't waste time in the morning.
All 24 hours. Don't waste no 1 hour. Straight up.
Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram. Fresh Cut Manny on IG. J Cut to Lead on IG. We'll be uploading more videos later, and we're in Sugarland, Texas. We're actually Houston, but Sugarland's closed. But
if you ever need a chop, holla at us. That's it.
All right, guys.